And here we have my grow tent. As you can see, we have a ton of plants at the bottom here. We have all my beautiful lettuce at the top. Look at that. How much will this cost you at the supermarket? As you can see here, I've just been cutting them down, eating. I mean, literally, you can just pull it off and munch on it. It is so good, so delicious. I mean, this is grown indoors. Look how big this head is. Look at that. I'm going to teach you guys everything that I do. Oh, I need some water. Everything that I do, everything from the reservoirs, how I germinate seeds, to the type of lighting that I'm using, to the overall setup, every single type of little gadget that you're gonna need. You're gonna need one of these pumps for aeration. These are some of my kales that I have growing right here, and this is basil that I have growing here. I mean, so much grows that I literally have to chop it down, give it away, or unfortunately throw it out. I mean, I'm gonna show you guys how to never go hungry again. You could simply do this indoor year-round and have your very own totally organic vegetables. Let me actually reduce the light. There you go. Give you a little denser, more colorful look. I mean, look how dense this is. I love growing lettuce. For whatever reason, as of right now, I've strictly been growing lettuce because it's primarily what I consume the most of. So thankfully I was able to understand and grasp quickly on how to go about growing my own lettuce. I mean, literally it just starts overgrowing. You just end up having so much that, I mean, you're going to be eating salad for a while if you're that type of guy or gal that will enjoy their own produce. I'm going to go into everything from the tubing that I'm using, water, pH levels, ppm, and every single type of other minor thing that you're going to need to maintain your own grow indoors 365 days out of the year. So let's get into learning about the little things that you're going to need for the consistent maintenance and the upkeep of your indoor grow garden. And again, this entire garden is hydroponic. No dirt, completely just water, some clay pebbles, and a growing medium. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so I just showed you the inside of my tent. Now that tent is about 48 inches wide, or it might be 48 inches high, but it's a fairly large tent where I could literally go inside of it and be inside and maintain the plants. Now I'm going to show you some of the things that I utilize for the consistent maintenance of having an indoor grow, and we're actually even going to construct our very own reservoir. Okay, so let's start from the left. This is my measuring utensil that I utilize when I put in the nutrients right into the reservoir. As you can see, it's labeled 60 mil. It's actually half of it's 30. A lot of times when you're going to be dropping in, depending on how many liters, or actually how many liters or gallons your reservoir will be. Now I know that I buy these little plastic tubs, and they're 6.6 gallons, which is 2.5 liters. Now a lot of times people have these huge reservoirs. For an indoor grow, you don't want that. Also, you want to make it kind of in sync to whatever you're growing with. The reason why I, for example, let me just go back to here. The reason why I chose this specific size, and I actually got lucky, I don't know if it's very kind of default in their industry or however it falls, but probably not. I could fit 3 of these across each platform here. So that gives me a lot of, I mean, basically if you're trying to do an indoor grow, you're utilizing light. I have all this light falling here. You want to use as much of the space as possible to utilize your yield. Okay, the yield is how much you're going to get out of this one time you're growing. A lot of times people will have one light, one small plant, and you're not going to get a lot out of that. Now, you know, you don't want that. So what you want to do is you want to manage to get as much out of it as possible. So this is again, this is your regular measuring tool, and this is what I do for the nutrients. Here we have a pH reader. Let me see if I can focus in on it. There you go. It's a pH reader, and basically this turns on, and you stick it into the water, and it will measure a specific type of pH level. pH is the acidity of your water. When you have to maintain a specific acidity on the water, that will allow the plant roots to actually absorb proper nutrients. If the acidity is low and the water is too acidic, you want to alkaline that water. You want to create it to a neutral state, which will allow the plants to gain as much nutrients as you'll be pumping into that water, so they'll grow properly. This is a little small little tool that I use when I'm actually watering my seeds. A lot of times, and we'll go through that process too. This is going to be a fairly lengthy video. You're going to see when there's a lot of pods set up and the plants are really small. Did you ever think of how you're going to actually pour the water over them? If you're actually pouring too much water, you could drown the plant, or it could just actually put water on top of the newly growing leaves, create it to be too heavy, and the plants will start leaning over. So I actually use this type of syringe. I bring it up with water, and I actually pour right into the small areas right around the root surface for the plant. Yeah, it's a bit time consuming, but it's well worth it. This is like a chopstick right here that I use, and I specifically use this when I'm grabbing seeds out of the water on the way that I actually germinate. And I haven't really seen too many people doing it like this, but I've seen some videos and I learned from it. Totally works, and it's totally incredible. This is what I use to literally scoop up a seed that has primarily just started germinating, and I put it right into the growing medium. And I'll show you guys just in just 1 second. Let me actually grab that growing medium, as I forgot to put it out. So next we have a timer. You're going to need to get one of these. You're going to start getting lazy because you're not going to want to continuously turn on and turn off that light, because lights have cycles. I keep my lights on approximately 18 hours a day, because you have to realize you are trying to mimic the outdoor light cycle. Now we have a cycle from, for example, 8 a.m. up to 5, 6, 7, depending on what time of the year you're in. It's going to stay out. It's going to be lighter, or it's going to be darker. So you're gonna want one of these to continuously have light and automatically turn on and off for you, just to make your life easier. This is a net pot. This is basically what our growing medium as well as our plant will rest inside. The reservoir kind of goes into it, as you saw previously on my currently growing plants, and it will stay right inside. And this is basically what your plant grows out of. This is your basic pump, okay? You could actually probably do 2 reservoirs with this. It's got enough power to it. They're based out of how much pressure they push out. This is you could probably get this one for like 25 bucks, maybe less. I'm going to go into the details of the one that I have. I've gone through a number of different ones. There's some issues with certain ones. There's great results with others that I've had. And the one that I currently have that I'll go into is fantastic. And some of the issues that you'll come up with is noise, heat, overheating. Realize that when you're keeping your tent or whatever you're growing in confined, completely closed from either cats or any other animals in the house, and you want to make sure that no kind of weird particles or anything else in the air is getting into the tent to basically distress the plants. So you're going to keep it closed. You have to realize that the pump is going to get hot, and it's going to be the pump is the one thing that runs literally 24/7, 365. This is what I germinated. And once the seeds have germinated, and you actually, I'll show you how to soak these. These are the starter cubes. The starter cube actually goes right into here. Then we have our like a drip pan and a dome that actually goes right on top of everything to allow proper germination over a span of approximately 1 week. And that will, as your seeds and plants starts to grow, you will take them out of here once they're ready, possibly showing a minor root, and you will drop them right into the reservoir for proper growth. Here we have the clay pebbles that I use. I keep them in this type of tote, and usually you have a lot depending on how much growing you're doing. I try to reuse these because it's pretty simple. Sometimes when you're growing and the root is extremely large, okay, when the roots are super big, they actually start to clump around all of this. But when you're done and you've ripped out your plant, you could actually break down that root over a paper towel. These will fall. You just want to wash them, let them sit for like a day, and then you can actually reuse them. They are just a small little pebble. It's a clay pebble. You're actually getting close into them. As you can see, these are you can buy a bag of these for probably 20 bucks on Amazon or so. Also the same thing with those starter kits. You're going to find a lot of links right down below in this video where to get all of this stuff. Besides that, let's talk about this tubing. I use a specific type of tubing that I found on the internet. I'll link it down below, but this is a BPA-free tubing. If some of you guys don't know what BPA is, it's a specific type of chemical that is binding to creating certain type of plastics. You're going to find it in all of your everyday plastics unless, let me see if this has it. Nope, it doesn't have it. Basically, there's like a little recycling little symbol at the bottom of a lot of plastic containers. You want to research, utilize Google, and they'll actually tell you what numbers are safe, what numbers are more hazardous, depending on either the percentage of the specific BPA chemical that are inside or not. Now, so this is the tubing that I use. It's BPA free. This was fairly expensive for tubing, but it's really worth it. Again, what I wanted to mention about BPA, if you do not know, the reason why we use BPA free things is because due in certain temperatures, if it gets too warm, for example, if you have a non-BPA free plastic container that you continuously drink water out of, and that gets hot, it actually releases that BPA chemical into your water and can be hazardous to your health, such as becoming a carcinogen and being cancerous. Look it up again. Use Google to your advantage. Here we have the pH up. This is the pH down. If you don't know what this is acidity level control. When you're using your pH meter and you have your water going, also you always want to pH your water. Always. I don't want to stress that, because as soon as you take that tap water, okay, and you're putting it into your reservoir, or you're putting into however you are germinating, you always want to pH your water, because if it's too acidic, it's gonna burn. Just like when you intake, some of you guys have indigestion and you take in something, you know, that has a high acidic level, you're gonna get heartburn. So that acidity level will actually corrode whatever it is that you are either germinating or what you're growing. So when the pH level is a certain low or a certain high, you're going to utilize the pH up or pH down to stabilize and neutralize that pH level. The proper pH level that I was taught and I have read and I have seen is approximately 6.0. If you're a little below 6.0 or you're a little higher, I like to get it right at 6.0, and I have had great outcome. So that's why I keep it at 6.0. This is a product that I use, 𝐿 actually. This actually came with some of the nutrients that I utilize. This 𝐿 helps root development, root growth. It's fantastic. And basically, I actually mix a little bit of this. When I am either soaking this medium with water prior to adding the seeds into it. So this, a little bit of this, and this is an organic material. It's just basic nutrients for additional root growth. At this time for my nutrients that I'm currently utilizing for my vegetative and bloom, I am using Botanicare, the grow as well as the base. I've had not great success with other nutrients. Make sure you guys, if you're growing indoors, stay away from organic. And what I mean by organic, even though this stuff, literally, theoretically it's organic because there's no fertilizers or pesticides or anything like that that is harming to the human. This isn't made from any specific type of broken down materials. A lot of the industry utilizes certain type of nutrients that have a lot of broken down natural plants like seaweed or anything like that. And once you put that into your reservoir and it gets going, it'll basically clog everything up and it gets super stinky. It really smells really bad. So you want to watch out for whatever that you're using. Again, utilize Google for your benefit. Make sure you're picking up the proper nutrients. I'll link everything that I'm using down below in this video. So make sure to either give me the thumbs up, click the links, or you know, try everything on your own that you feel is best for your indoor grow. So I just gave you guys an overall of what I currently use to maintain and to start my grow up in my house. Let's go now to talking about creating and constructing your reservoir. And also, just while we're at this table, actually keep a little book always on this table right here for consistent maintenance. For example, I'll put down the date and I'll write down the day, and I will indicate whatever happened on that day. Did I put additional water into reservoir A, or did I put you know, nutrients on that specific day? This actually will keep maintenance a little easier for you. So regarding this little container right here, we're going to be creating the reservoir right out of this. I'm going to show you guys how I do it, how I put the holes, what type of tool that I use to actually create the pod holes, as well as the drilled hole that we utilize for the hose to go into the reservoir and connect to the pump. Alright, let's go ahead right into that. Alright guys, so here I'm going to show you how I'm going to put the holes into the reservoir, what type of tools that I'm using, and so forth. Basically what you're going to need is, you're going to need this little device right here. This is a specific size exactly tailored to the pods that I use. Now if you actually look at the pod, it actually will fit right to the diameter of this little, call it a jig, I guess. Basically I think this is a 2-inch or 1.5 inch or 2.5 inch. But basically what this does is you actually hook this up into your drill, and we're going to go ahead and drill consistent holes throughout the entire perimeter. I mean, you could choose however many you want to do. You could do 2, you could do 4, you could do 6. I actually try to utilize the entire thing, the entire real estate of the reservoir, to fit as many plants as possible. It's not always the best thing depending on what you're growing, but for me, growing lettuce or basil, I'm able to utilize the space doing 9 all the way across. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to show you exactly how I do that, what to look for, what to not do, and just what I do. I'm using this little drill bit right here. Basically this will just go into the side here. I'm not going to utilize this little blue plate, but basically on the other side it's just plain. And we're going to drill through right through here, kind of creating a little more of like a little deeper hole, a little larger of a hole, and that will allow us to put the tubing through, which will allow it to go right into the aerator stone. I actually didn't even touch base on that when we went through some of the stuff that you need. But I will touch base as soon as we get back to it. So let's go ahead and let me show you how I create the holes inside the reservoir. Alright guys, so basically what you want to do is you want to take this little jig, you want to stick it inside your gun here. Get it set up correctly so it fits in well. Basically this is fits right inside here. Tighten that up. Alright. And you want to be very careful what happens here. This top, now it's really hard. If, let's say for example, you wanted just to do it some way, somehow. I tried it multiple times, not using the tub while I'm doing this, but it's almost impossible. I mean, it's possible, but it's really hard. You don't, once you do your first, or even any one of these, you don't want to press too hard. Okay, by pressing too hard, what's going to happen is this is really fragile. It's really frail. It's really thin plastic. So if you press too hard, you could actually crack it. One of the issues that I've come across is when I'm doing my one hole, my next hole, my next hole, right next to them, if you come too close and you press a little too hard, it actually happens right in this middle part. From one pod to the other, this little area will crack. Okay? You don't want that to happen. If that does happen, it's okay. You could tape it. You could still utilize the reservoir. It's just not as pretty, but this isn't about aesthetics here. This is about being productive and being able to utilize such a tub for indoor growth. So let me go ahead and show you how I'm going to do the first one. So I kind of like to position it right over here. It's a pretty good spot. As you can see, I was really light on it. You want to pull that out real quick, and automatically this is pretty hot right here. So you actually want to peel this as fast as possible. Be very careful. You could actually cut yourself. But as you can see now, we have a really nice and easy hole. Let me actually go ahead and reach over to this pod. And as you can see, take this pod, drops right in, and now you have a perfectly flush surface to allow for the reservoir to work correctly. So let me show you guys how I'm going to do a couple of holes for you. I'm just going to show you how they look and what to do and what not to do. I'm certainly going to be very careful on trying not to crack this top. So let's go ahead and continue. You want to make sure that you're not pressing too hard. You kind of let it guide itself. Okay, again, do not press too hard. You just want it to kind of take its own course. Okay, let it do its thing, because at the bottom, if you guys didn't see, make sure your finger is off while you're pulling that off. If you didn't see, you have this little pointer right here. Okay, as soon as this drills through, then this will capture, and then you just kind of like let it go, let it create its momentum, and it will create that perfect hole for you. Let's keep on moving. These don't necessarily need to be super straight. Okay, a lot of times people are, oh, I gotta make this super straight. You don't need it to be super straight, you just need it to be functional. By moving it around a little bit, will allow you to create that initial hole, and as soon as it captures, there you go. So as you can see, now we have 3 really great holes. I used to actually take this other drill and kind of go around the perimeter and smooth these edges out. I found it to be not productive, and it doesn't really do anything. Now also, once you're done, creating your holes, you want to go ahead and wash this thing properly just to get any of the plastic out. So let me go ahead and continue real quick, and I'll show you guys the finished product. Alright guys, so as you can see, I went ahead and finished up. As you can see, it's pretty nice. It's really easy and super simple, and utilizing that one specific tool. You can get that at Lowe's. That's where I got mine. It attaches right to the your hand drill, and attaches right in there, and you can create all these great holes. Super simple. Now a lot of times you might have sag right in the middle because of how thin this material is. As soon as you get a lot of heavy plants in here, and just overall with some of the rock pebbles and so forth, this might drip down a little bit. On this one, I actually see that it's not sagging too much as some of the other previous ones that I've created, which is good. That means that I wasn't pressing really hard in that middle to really push down. And if you're not pushing down heavily, you're going to get great results. As you can see, nothing broke, nothing cracked. We have a great little reservoir. Super easy, guys, super easy. As you'll see, the water goes right in there. As soon as that pod actually touches the water, I'll go into all those details in just a little bit, but you just learn how to make yourself a homemade reservoir, And it's super simple. All you needed was literally 2 tools, and I didn't show you guys how to drill through here, but I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Take the drill, add the bit, and put a hole right through here. Determine on the thickness of your hose compared to the bit that you're using. You'll understand how big the hole should be. I'm sure you guys could handle that. And this was step 1 on never going hungry again, on allowing yourself to grow indoors, hydroponically, fully organic. Let's move on to the next step of germination. Alright guys, so here we are now at the germination stage. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to show you how I germinate seeds. So as you can see, I have 2 little dishes, regular water. I want to show you what happens here. So when you're germinating the seeds, it's really important that that pH level is correct. So check that out. As I put it in there, you don't submerge the entire thing, but you want to make sure that it's submerged at the bottom part. As you can see, it's currently at 6.9. Now it's raising to 7. And I'm sure with just in, see, as you move around a little bit, it kind of goes up and down, up and down. So we're approximately at 7.1. So what we want to do is this. I just want to check this one. I'm certain it's at the same thing. I just put it in there. So if we're at 7.1, as you remember, I told you guys we want to, you got to be really careful with this stuff. We're going to add a little bit of that pH down. 2, 3, that's plenty. 1, 2, 3. I like to twirl it around a little bit because you want it to spread accordingly throughout the entire area. A lot of times it actually goes way too low and it's no good. Just give it a couple seconds to really get in there. So let's see what it's going to start reading. See what happened? 3 drops was way too much. As you can see, we were just at 7.1. I now hit 3.4. Ugh. I hate when that happens. So this is actually a good little tip. Don't put too much in. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be utilizing the pH up, and you know, I hate doing this because I always say to myself it's better to put less and then put a little more as of the pH down. 1, 2. It actually takes more pH up. 2, 3. Than it does. There you go. Alright, let's see what happens here. Have to mix that water up a little bit. So we're hovering around 5. We're going to have to put a little more in. I like it right when it gets to 6. .2. Go ahead and put just a little more in there. 1, 2. Honestly, I'm just going to stop wherever it is. I mean, 7 was high, but if we hit, you know, if we're able to hit like 5.9, 6.2, as soon as the seeds go in there, it will. So we're at 6.2 on this one. Let's go ahead and leave that one alone. 6.1 on this one. Let's go ahead and leave that one alone too. Now let me show you guys what I do with the seeds. So check this out. I only use organic seeds. Now these seeds, like for example, this is the lettuce. Okay, look how tiny. If you guys never seen lettuce seeds, look how tiny they come out. Actually, I'm just going to throw them right into here. Hopefully you can get a good view. As you can see how little they are. You want to put, you know, depending on how many pods you have, how many pods you've created room for in your reservoir, you want to put a little more than that. due to the fact that not all of them germinate properly. What that means is, even though you're germinating, that doesn't mean that they're all going to develop a root. Let me get a little closer up here. So one of my methods that I use, as you can see, they're actually all floating. What I do is this. I actually tap on them so that they all fall to the bottom. So just continue to tap as they all fall to the bottom. Once they're all at the bottom, it's almost like is there something inside there? Obviously, there isn't. You know, there's a lot inside. There's life inside, and you'll see as soon as they start developing roots, which is totally incredible. Any seed out there, you know, you soak underwater for a few days, you're going to discover a tail, and that little tail is the life of the seed. That's why a lot of times, basically, if you take any kind of seed, even an almond, and I can't determine if an almond's a seed, but if you actually soak an almond for like 2 days or so, you'll notice that it actually grows a little white tail, and that almond actually becomes much more delicious. As you can see now, none of them are floating. I've actually knocked all of them down right to the bottom of the dish. And then from there, within a few days, you're going to notice a slow generation of the little tail. That little tail is going to be the root process starting, and the top of these is basically going to be the flower top. So you'll see as we progress through the next couple of days, I will continue to compile this video on a step-by-step tutorial on everything that I do, everything from the reservoir, as you just learned, down to the germination, down to the pods, on how we soak them, how we transplant the seed when it's ready to be put into the rock wool, and so on. As you saw there, we just went ahead and dropped the seeds into a properly pH level of 6.1. This will just take a few days, and I will continue to film and provide you the best possible tutorial for you to never go hungry. Again, check this out. Cool, right? Alright, let's go to the next step. So here we are, guys. As you can see, this little dish here full of the pH water, it's now fully germinated. As you can see, all the seeds that we had in there, they now have all these long tails. That means these seeds are totally alive. That means that they're ready to grow. That means that they're ready to be put into the Rockwell cubes. And so the next step after you've germinated your seeds is take a big tub of water just like this. Okay, we're going to need our starter cubes. Okay, these are the little guys that the seeds will go into. As you can see here, we have the little holes. We have our pH reader, and we're going to be using a little bit of this 𝐸𝐻𝐿 right here. So what I do is, depending on the manufacturer's suggested amount by gallon, so I think this is like 4 gallons in here, depending on how much we're going to put some of this in here. So first we're going to put some of this 𝐸𝐻𝐿 into the water. Okay, let it sit for a few minutes. Then right after that, we're going to want to read the pH of it, because as soon as you put any type of solution into the water, the pH automatically changes. So what you want to do is first add any solution for better root growth and development. Check the pH, make sure it's basically at that 6 that we talked about. It's between 5.9 and 6.2. Right after that, if necessary, if it's spiked up, add a little bit of the pH down, as you can see right there. So let me take you through right after I've done all that and what we're going to be doing, okay? Alright, so I went ahead and put some of the 𝐸𝐻𝐿 in there. Let's go ahead and read on the pH level what it's reading. You can't really see that, but it's actually a 7.0. So what I'm going to do is, from here, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of the pH down. Drop that right in there. There's a lot of water in there, so it's definitely going to need a significant amount. You want to twirl it around so that solution can get all throughout the water. Now I'm going to put the pH reader back in there. It's still a little high. We're at 6.6, so I just want to add just a little bit more. Now, you might ask yourself, why are we doing this? And I'm going to tell you this right now. So, the main reason you want to pH your water, and as well as get a good solution in the water, is for these little guys. Okay? We're going to be soaking these. And you want to soak them for about 3 to 5 hours, depending on how much time you have, depending on when you started during the day, and so forth. The importance of getting these completely soaked. So basically, this water is ready. Okay, what I'm going to do is drop that in there, and as you see, it soaks up all that water and just drops right to the bottom. So I'm going to do that for all these guys. They all do the same thing. Alright, so what happens during that 3 to 5 hours is the rock will actually, this is our growing medium, it absorbs all the proper root growth nutrient as well as the proper pH for these little guys to go into. Okay, so as soon as these cubes are ready, within 5 hours, and they've soaked up everything, not all the water, but overall they've just been soaking for quite a while. This way you don't have to water the seeds for the next few days as soon as they actually go into the rock wool, and I'm going to show you the process of that too. But basically that's all you really need on this step. You want to make sure that these are wet, these are soaked for several hours. You want to make sure that your germination has been complete, and the next step is to transport one of each into a rock wool cube. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright guys, so as you can see, it's been a couple hours now. We have our little cubes. They've been soaking for a little while. Kept them in there for about 3 to 4 hours. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of pulling them out of the water, and let me show you what we're going to be doing. So as soon as you have them all out of the water, what the next step is to get this type of tray right here. Okay, this is your drip tray. Also, you're going to need these little guys right here that basically man these little rock wools for the time being as the seeds are germinating. So you kind of just put these right across this way. They're full of water, and they're also correctly pH'd to exactly what we're looking to do. So they're correctly pH'd, and they have absorbed some of that proper nutrient for the from the Clonex. So as you can see, this is what I do. So this is why I use this little stick. As soon as you actually touch right within the water, this is a good way to do it. I mean, this is the way I do it. You don't have to do it this way if you know another way. But basically, these little seeds that have just sprouted and germinated, all I do is, and you want to make sure that the green side, take a look, let me just see if I can get close on there. You see how the tail is right here? And this is another reason why I use the stick. It kind of just goes right in there. And you want to make sure that the green part is right at the top and sticking up just a little bit. And you want to do this for all 6. Okay, I mean, because of my reservoirs, they have 9 pods in there. You know, I put a lot. I usually get a number of cubes as well as seeds in there, because just so you know, even though they've germinated for you and they look cute and everything, and they look like they're about to do something, but what can happen is they just don't mature. Nothing happens, and you want to maximize that yield, as I spoke about before earlier, regarding how many plants are under your light. You want to make sure you're maximizing the amount of space that you have allotted for the plants. So I usually, look how many seeds I actually germinated. Okay, I do way more than usual. That's because I realized that not all of them germinate. Okay, and when not all of them germinate, we're going to need to make up for how many cubes we have and how much space we have and so forth. So you want to make sure that you do a little more than you might lose a rock wool here and there, but it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. So as you can see, they all just fit right in there, and this is the best way to do it with this little stick. It's a little chopstick. Okay, and just be careful with the roots. You don't want to break them, because if you break them, the plant won't grow. And there you go. So, for example, as you can see here, all of them are in there. Here's our next step. what we're going to do is you want to put something like this over it, okay? This is a dome. Now, this will allow for the humidity inside of the dome to start working those cubes, okay? So let me just show you real quick what the next step is. A lot of times you want to heat. You want to get those things heated up. What I do also is I actually put them right inside my grow tent. Okay, I put them right inside the grow tent, right underneath the light. Now what happens is one of the downfalls of this is that the light, as you can see, it's pretty high. It's far away from here. They actually sell some of these type of kits that have a light that actually basically gets installed right into the plastic here, and it's fairly close to the rock wall. Now the reason why you want that is as soon as these guys start growing and they start coming up, they're going to start reaching for that light. When they start reaching for that light and it's really far away, what happens is they get long, they get leggy. The terminology is called being leggy. The problem with that is they just kind of fall over. They're no longer able to have a nice strong core to go ahead and uprise. You want those greens to be coming up right at the top of those rock wool cubes, and have them progress upward. And a lot of times when I have this situation here, I actually just put a couple of books or anything like that, just so it gets a little closer to the light, just like that. This is the best I can do. They actually sell some domes that I actually want to invest in myself that are much shorter. They're not as tall. So let's say I cut off like this much off of here. It'll give me a lot more room to place the light closer to the dome to get up on those seeds. So that's something to consider. And as you're watching this video, I'm sure you've been doing your own research regarding how to grow inside hydroponically. You're going to come across a lot of different articles, and it's really easy to learn. So the next step is to watch these little guys grow. I'm going to give you guys a quick shot on, for example, day 3, day 5, day 7, just the progression of these guys. A lot of times, depending on the climate inside your house, if it's too cold, if it's too hot, if it's too humid, the growth spurs are very different in all different climates. Okay, because you can modify the humidity of the dome by reducing, allowing certain airflow to go to here or not. So it all truly ranges. A lot of times I notice that it takes approximately 10 days for my seeds to start really getting to the point where I could transplant them into my reservoirs. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next stage. Hey guys, so this is actually day 1, right after we actually set the dome up inside of the grow tent. Let me actually see this little condensation that you have going on here. That's from the cubes being wet. They are nice and moist, well enough for the seed to actually start germinating and continue germinating, as well as becoming alive, showing green and showing a root. Now when you see this, don't worry, this is actually good for a couple of days. But the reason why I wanted to show you this on day 1, let me just pop this out a little further, is that we actually already have growth. I mean, take a look right there. We actually have one of the seeds literally already breaking out of the rock wool and trying to reach the light. It's trying, actually look, now that I look how many more we have. As you guys remember, this is just yesterday. Obviously this video is put together throughout a number of days. Actually, it took me well over a week to put this entire video together up to this point, just to showcase a couple of things here and there from the germination process, just getting equipment ready and so forth. But as you guys can see, these little green guys are ready to go. This is just day 1. All right, let's go to day 3, 4, 5, and 6, all the way up to day 10 maybe. I'll keep you guys moving along here so we can check on the progress of our little new seedlings. Alright guys, so we are back, and this is actually day 4 of the seedlings. I went ahead and took the dome off just to show you what we have going on. So as you can see, we have some decent growth. The leaves are starting to come out. They're starting to reach up. So it's good. So let's see here. We have like one right there that's not coming up. Another one right here. 3, 4, 5. See, as I told you guys in the beginning, you're going to want to do a number of these because they're not always going to come out. Let's just see what's going on with this one. Now I'm seeing it sprouting, but unfortunately the way that the root got caught inside with the leaf, it's just not allowing it to penetrate up. And look at this. We have, you can't see actually inside, but I could see it, and it's got awesome, tremendous, nice growth inside, but unfortunately the way that it's kind of twisted itself up, it's not allowing itself to come up. And it could be that I was actually a day late, and this one's coming up right there, as you can see. Maybe another few days it'll come out. So what I'm going to be doing, this is day 4 of these guys. What I'm going to be doing right now is basically this. This is what I got here. I make this little jug of water right here, put some of the �\𝐾𝐿 in there to produce better root growth. And first you want to put this in, mix it with the water, then you want to check your pH, and the pH will definitely be off. And what you want to do is apply your up or down pH to allow for the best possible pH around 5.9 to 6. My next thing is what I do is I use this little gadget right here. Okay, I use this big syringe. As you can see, one-handed I'm even doing this. Pull up some water just for a quick demonstration, and this is how I feed the seedlings. Because as I told you guys before, let me actually go ahead and switch hands. As I told you guys before, the proper way to do the seedlings for what I do, I mean, obviously it's a lot more work, but I just kind of put their food right in that little hole right there. Okay, I don't like spilling the water on top of them because that just makes them top heavy, and they don't love it so much. And by doing it like this actually allows for the water and the nutrient for better root development to get right up into the rock wool to actually induce it more to produce better root growth. Okay, so again, this is day 4. As you can see what's going on, and to give them food, I'm giving this big syringe right inside the rock wool, right around the entire perimeter of the rooting system, and that's it. Let's go to the next step. Now here we have day 7, guys. As you can see, look at the great growth that we have here. Since seed, this has been day 7. We started out with approximately 16 cubes. We are down to what, 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm sorry, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're down to 15 here. I want you to see what's going on day 7. So as you can see here, we have root growth. Okay, let me focus in a little bit on that. As you can see, right through the cube, that is the initial root for this little lettuce piece. Now a lot of them are going to have that. See, another little root coming out. Our next step, probably in just one day, and just so you guys know, throughout the entire time I've been feeding these guys through that syringe method right down into the whole area to really capitalize on that root area for exponential growth. So right after here, I think we're going to keep them in here for one more day, and next you're going to see the transport from these little pods right into our reservoir. Alright, let's check it out. Alright, so as you guys could see, this is actually day 10. Okay, we've reached day 10, and look at the growth that we have at day 10. Beautiful leaves on all sides. Let's just lift one of these up real quick. There's no roots on that one, but that's fine. Let's just take a look at this one. We got one big, nice, healthy root right there. Let's take a look at this big one right here. Another big root, like peeking through the rock wool right there. These are looking great. Okay, it's now going to be time to transition these guys into the reservoir. Okay, as you guys could see here, as you remember, we had 2 tubs right here full of lettuce. Those are now gone. I still have my beautiful kale right down below. Also some basil right there. As you can see, I got 3 levels of lights. 1, 2, 3. This is the great pump that I'm currently using for all of the reservoirs that I have. So let me just take you right here what we're going to be doing. So this is something that I didn't actually touch base on in the beginning. This is your air stone. So this actually gets attached to the pump, and this lets out air
throughout the reservoir, providing oxygen to the plants. So in this case, for the new reservoir, this is the one that I just did for you guys on video and I created for you. Let me just show you guys. This is the hole that I drilled with that drill bit, and this will allow the BPA-free tubing to go right through the inside here, attach to the aerator, okay, and we're going to get the plant set right in here, the actual small rock walls. You're going to need these net cups throughout this entire thing. What do I have here? Okay, I don't see a lot of people utilizing this, but I have, and it actually helped improve the sound a ton. So imagine this, okay, sits at the bottom of this plastic tub as air is being pushed out of it. Also, this is sitting on top of something, so you're actually going to get some noise happening because it's going to be rumbling. So what I thought, this actually gets attached to the sides of water tanks, okay, and it's usually attached to a light or something else kind of on a side angle. What I did here is I actually just attached this and let the aerator sit on these two throughout the entire bottom. Okay, so as these kind of get attached to the bottom, this sits right across the entire perimeter and it cushions the sound. Okay, this rubber little piece actually cushions the sound so it doesn't make it so loud. Once you get started, you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about, and you're going to say, oh, that's what he was talking about. All right, cool. So let's go into the segment where I'm actually going to be putting the rock wool cubes in the reservoir, applying the water, setting this up, and basically this is going to be the last step, what you need to know on never going hungry again. So at this point I have the reservoir sitting on top of the storage area right underneath the light where we're going to have all our rock wool cubes sitting in the net pots. I just wanted to show you guys this quick step what I did. Alright, so here's the aerator. Here are the little plugs that basically sit at the bottom. As you can see, I'm kind of trying to move it around. It's staying in place. That's exactly what you want. The tubing actually goes right into the aerator. As I mentioned to you, comes right out of the hole right here, right down to our pump. Okay, so right now this would be spitting out air and percolating inside the water, as you will see in just 1 second. I just wanted to quickly show you guys how I actually add the water right into the reservoir. I use a pitcher. Yeah, it's frustrating, it's annoying, but this is what needs to happen unless you have a hose that you could basically drop right into the reservoir and be able to get the water into the reservoir as necessary. I'm gonna show you exactly how much water you need so that the net pots actually kind of sit in a specific location where it's not going to be too much for the rock wool or soaking up too much water. Alright, check this out. Guys, take a look. So as you can see, the water is now filled up to a certain point where I feel comfortable that the net pots will be right above the water. As you can see, that is what we call water aeration, okay? We now have oxygen being pumped in through the water, which is meant to basically provide oxygen for the roots as they develop right below those net cups. Let me show you the view of how I determine how much water is necessary. Alright, as you can see, take a look right where the water is, right under the net pot. Watch as I actually push down. You see that? It's hovering literally right over the water. That's how you want to line up all your cups. A lot of times in the middle, which is the most sensitive and saggy part, as I told you in the beginning, honestly, it all depends. There's no way to tell if it's going to sag or not, but you will notice that the cups will sit lower in the water, just like that. You see that? Actually, the water is a little over that bottom part, as it was a little different when it was on that side. So that's what we want exactly. Now let me just show you exactly how I put the rock wool into the net cups and how it looks how this entire reservoir looks covered in net pots full of ready to go plants ready to be eaten soon. Alright, so here's what I do, guys. I took this right out of the inside the tent. I have some of my cups lined up. All we do is literally grab some pebbles, okay, and just put them at the bottom just a little bit, okay? You don't have to cover too much of that bottom part. Alright, just a little bit. The roots will develop right through that. They will find their way on how to go about coming right through that. Alright, so basically you want to do that. I'm just going to do those 4 right there. Alright, and here's what I do. Take this. Usually it's much easier when you do it with 2 hands. Just cover them just like that. Make sure you hit all the areas and it will just fall into place. Alright, don't even worry about dropping some clay pebbles on top of it. Literally just do that, shake it around, they'll fall to the sides, as you can see. And I like to cover it. Basically, it's just providing support. Okay, let me give you an up close shot of what it looks like. You see that? Plant is nicely tucked inside. It doesn't have to be all the way up to the top, and the rocks just kind of, the clay pebbles just kind of give it support. All right. Now let me show you what it looks like, the entire reservoir covered and ready to go plants. Alright, so as you can see, the reservoir is now full of beautiful seedlings. These little guys are ready to be grown and soon ready to be eaten. Usually the duration that you saw earlier in the video, when the lettuce gets, this high and gets really bushy, that's about a 25 to 30 day duration. It could be more. One of the things that I didn't touch base on is the lights. This actually, right below here, you see that we have 4 bulbs going across. What you want is maybe like 120 volt inputs, approximately, definitely use T5s or T8s. I haven't used the actual grow light. Grow light provides such intensity that it could be a fire hazard. One of the things that actually prevented me from growing for like almost a year and a half, as I actually practiced on just different things on trying to get to this level. I mean, you're not going to find any videos that are so given such a POV point of view on getting things ready, getting things set up, everything from creating your reservoir down to germination, down to placing everything. You're not going to find anything. This is the only video that I've seen on YouTube that actually gives you all those point of views and such tight-knit instructions from step by step to allow you to get to this point. Now I know I went off the topic about the lights, but that's what actually kept me from growing for quite a while. To be able to put the kind of trust myself, get everything set up to a point where I know everything is nice and safe and nothing is going to happen. That's what was in the back of my head for a very long time. So, man, I hope you guys like this video. Let me just give you a shot of the inside right here. Literally within like 3 to 5 days, you guys are going to start seeing roots peeking out from underneath these pods. Okay, I mean, this is definitely the last segment of this really long video. I appreciate if you guys watch the entire video. I know it's like right under an hour. Give me the thumbs up. Share this video. Subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to be coming to you guys with a plethora of different things on going about growing indoors and never going hungry right here at 365 Grow YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe right here down below. Make sure you click the link. Make sure, again, you give us the thumbs up, and you either forward this video to anybody that you think might want to know about growing indoors hydroponically, utilizing only organic materials, no fertilization, pure delicious greens. I mean, look at that. Let me just tear this awesome kale. It is so good. It's so fun to literally come down and be able to just rip off, a beautiful plant and eat it. It's so good too. And you grew it. I mean, do you realize what's going to happen when people come over to your house and you're like, yeah, I have this entire incredible setup, and yeah, we grow our own food. People are going to be in shock. Right down below, you guys are going to find all the different links to all the different stuff where I bought it. Everything from the pump, everything from the reservoirs, the tubings. Just click around, guys. You guys know where to find me. If you have any questions, make sure you comment down below. I'm going to leave that open for you guys. Alright, it's a very long, extensive video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know. Thanks again for watching, guys. Bye-bye.